Hey guys, Philosopher here, and today I'm going to showcase the secret Avengers in the global nodes of DD4. I've already showed you how they do in the beginning nodes. What I'm going to do is take them in there. I'm going to start with Ghost. We'll see how they do there. I do leave a space here between them and Ghost. I do think Ghost is a popular choice, at least from folks in my chat. We could try him with Black Widow as well, but I think Ghost is a pretty popular choice. I would recommend going to your save squads and saving the squad with this gap. So even if you don't have 5 characters at gear tier 15, you can go to your save squads and set this up this way. So let's just see how they do. I think they're going to do very, very well. I will say on the positioning, I should have had Maria Hill on the end, not Sharon Carter. So I will just note that. So that you can, when you're doing it, put Maria Hill all the way on the end. But let's just see how they do. I will say they did very well on the initial nodes, but I did have people then asking me, well, how do they do on the global nodes? So we'll just try out one of the global nodes and see. I think that they'll do very well. One thing that's interesting about them is they do not have sort of the traditional abilities that you would expect from a Dark Dimension team, right? Where you've got the percentage-based damage. Does she have anything unavoidable? No, right? All right, so we're just going to attack someone other than by attacking Pyro, I'm stoking the flames, but we're going to try to do it here. So the one thing I really like here is we're getting these minions. That is a traditional, I would say, Dark Dimension kind of thing where you use your characters that generate minions because they really are good at getting the enemy distracted and they focus on the minions. All right, so now we've got Juggernaut. You gotta love the damage output from those shield troopers. Pretty awesome there. All right, so now let's see. I don't even have the passive giving her extra focus. Look at that. She just removes all those positive effects from Juggernaut. That's power creep for you right there. Absolute power creep. All right, we got rid of him. Now I'll get rid of Korath. And Captain Sam, I obviously have a 7 red star Captain Sam, but he is just a beast. The resistance and focus on these characters is absolutely ridiculous as well. Now, one thing I will say to you, I have had people saying to me, well, Philosopher, your characters are way bigger than mine. I don't have these characters at, something like, 7 yellow stars or whatever. And I think that's a fair point. I'm not even going to use her cleanse here because we don't need to. But one thing you have to know is that, all of my characters are kind of in that same level in terms of size. And so this helps me compare the characters. I create a DD4 infographic, and what I'm trying to do is compare, for players who've never gone through DD4 before, how does Captain Sam do compared to like a character like Red Guardian, for example? How does he do compared to Zemo? I mean, these are the kind of questions that I get from newer players, and it's hard sometimes to draw comparisons, right? Like Zemo and Captain Sam are totally different kind of characters, but I have to sort of give them some general guidance of like, is this character performing well or not? So if I was bringing in like my 2-star character in with my, with a 7-star against the 7-star characters, it wouldn't be a fair comparison anyway. So it's actually kind of a good thing that I have all the characters at roughly the same size. Or what I'm doing here is I'm doing this just because it gives ability energy. We're otherwise just getting our cooldowns all set up for the next wave. I should have summoned there. That was a mistake. All right, so we got a couple shield troopers on the other side. You're going to want to, you have to deal with the Psylocke who can throw your debuffs back and Scientist Supreme. Just getting rid of her evade there. It's interesting, of course, you know, traditionally Ghost has been seen as a super OP Dark Dimension character, but, you know, I think it's fair to say that she's not the one doing most of the work here, is she? That's what just says so much about the strength of these characters. Amazing, huh? This team is insane. I really think that all of the extra firepower that comes from the Shield Troopers is really something. I think that adds a lot. I think we should we'll aim for the Shield Troopers so that I'm doing this just to get the heal at this point. Don't even need to deal with the cleanse, but might as well. That was a waste, but I mean, it doesn't really matter. Love that animation there from Maria Hill. All right, I'm working on Psylocke. All right, look at this. There we go. Lots of speed bar from Captain Sam. 600 speed bar. It's amazing. And there we go. We're already close to the point where we can focus on the next node. We still need to make sure here that we get rid of X23. We got, you know, the shield assaults can do AoE damage. But absolutely impressive work there, right? Absolutely impressive work. So, yeah, we still have 4 characters left. So one thing that is a mistake that you tend to make in Dark Dimensions, I know I did, when I first ran DD4 back in December, was I would start saving my cooldowns too early. And then sometimes I would get rolled at the very end because I would be saving my cooldowns when there was 4 or 5 characters left. You actually can pretty much reset your cooldowns with just 1 or 2 characters. No problem, right? You can see here, just all basics at this point. It's interesting. It doesn't work quite as well as it used to because the characters do so much more damage. Very, very impressive. You know, I really should have used that new auto basic feature. What I'm going to do now is we'll just do a little bit with Black Widow. I don't need to go through the whole node to show you that, but I'll just show you how the team does with Black Widow instead. So you can see whether or not you know, Black Widow is better or worse, or how she performs. I get a lot of these questions. So, you know, she's a skill character, so she's getting, you know, energy from Captain Sam. She's going to get speed bar, and so that's something that Ghost doesn't do. But of course, Ghost, you know, has some really awesome qualities with the turn rewind and so forth. Okay, so there he gives turn meter to everyone, including Black Widow, and then Black Widow, of course, is, you know, she's going to speed up the team, which is nice. One thing to keep in mind when you're considering Black Widow and using my character for comparison is I do have a 7 red star Black Widow. All right. So I think, you know, that's relevant because you don't expect the same performance from yours, in other words. It's funny. It's kind of ironic because the first time that I went through DD4, I did have Black Widow. She was definitely not 7 red stars at the time. And in fact, I didn't have max Stark Tech. I had very low Stark Tech for skill because at the time there weren't a lot of good skill characters. So she couldn't land any of her debuffs. I would have to rerun the node over and over and over and over to get her to stun like once. If things had changed since December. All right. I mean, we'll do a little bit more here. I don't want to belabor the point here, but I think it's safe to say that Black Widow can also be effective. And the reason I'm saying this is she's 36 skill uniques. She's a pretty low requirement. She's on a meta war team. Now, obviously, she's not like the most OP character of all time, but neither is Ghost. Like, we're using Ghost, right? I used Ghost on like the Gamma Raid. I do use her on war defense, but like, she's not like, this super meta character. I occasionally use her in Doom Raid, but she's not like awesome there. And a lot of my alliance mates have stopped using her in lieu of other characters. I mean, realistically, the ones who are doing all the work in the Doom Raid tech nodes are going to be Kestrel and Doom. Doc Ock is useful. The others are basically just like supporting cast. So one thing you may be wondering is like, why am I using only 4 characters? Well, I will just tell you. I mean, my advice to new players is to just get 4 characters geared and just go in with 4 characters. You don't really, as you can tell, it's like trivial to beat these nodes with 4 characters. So why, let's say it takes you a week longer to do it with 4 characters versus 5. Like, why wait and like, sit there and like get 5 global characters and you can just start gearing up your cosmic or whatever. Like, I don't really get it. Now it's like I have people telling me, like, for example, for DD3 even, like, oh, I've got to get my 5 global characters. It's like, man, I got through global with like 3 back at DD3. I mean, I know it wasn't ideal, but it gets the job done. I mean, if you're a newer player, not everyone has unlimited gear, okay? And if you do, God bless you, okay? But most people don't, and so just gear up 4 characters that are good. I mean, these 4 characters are not like ideal. Now, it's a lot of skill, right? So you can't bring in all the skill, okay? But you're seeing how the characters do. But I'm just sort of showing you here. These are all fairly low-cost characters as long as you kind of go all in on skill for the global section. Cosmic's easy. There's a bazillion good cosmic choices. Now we got some new city choices this patch. I don't know. I mean, to me, you could probably just get through a 4. I don't really think you need to do more than that. One thing I will just say, by the way, is, an issue with Black Widow is her health pool. This is a 7 red star Black Widow, and she's, got a lot lower health pool than the others just due to power creep. You can see she's getting low health until Maria heals her up. So just keep that in mind because, that's going to be an issue for her. All right, so here, the characters I don't really like to deal with here are going to be Proxima Midnight and Loki. What I'm really missing here is that turn rewind and the extend and the health drain from Ghost. That is what I'm missing here. You can see though, these minions do very good damage. It used to be that you didn't get good damage here from your characters in DD4 unless you had the percentage based health steal, and now the power creep is such that that's not an issue anymore. All right, let's try to do something else because I know people are going to ask me to do this. Let's do auto. And let's just see how this does with auto. This is auto DD4 with only 4 characters, one of which is Black Widow. So I'm not even guiding the attacks. I mean, we could do that if we want. It's just like, let's see how they do. All right, maybe I need to guide them a little bit. Oh, well, now we got the stun there. Oh, freaking grip. Interesting. So, you're seeing how the team does on auto. Not bad. Definitely not as well as it was doing when it was human piloted, but they just got 700 speed bar and they're off to the races again. I want to almost sit through this because I don't want to lose the progress that I put into it. But I think I've made my point. This seems really good. So if you're a shit in DD4 Global, you still haven't gotten through DD4, and you want to consider the Secret Avengers, I think it's safe to say that I'm going to be editing my infographic and having them as high performers in Global. And that changes quite a bit. I don't really think that makes any sense to bring in Red Guardian anymore, as long as you have decent red stars on Captain Sam. I do think Red Guardian is an option, but he's so expensive in terms of uniques, so you might as well just bring in this team if you can. These teams are much cheaper in terms of uniques. There are other choices, of course. Certainly Sinister and Emma and so forth are still worth considering. And Ghost is certainly a viable option. And you've seen Black Widow here, and her and Yelena have some synergy and so on and so forth. But this team is really good. And given that there's not that many good global options right now, they're a real godsend to players who are trying to work their way through DD4. All right, guys, if you like this video, smash that like button. Subscribe to this channel. If you have comments, leave them below, or just go to my Discord. That's linked below. We have lots of great conversations there about the game and about DD4 and all that kind of stuff. We also have my Twitch stream. That is linked below, where I do all this stuff in real time. You guys get to ask questions while I'm doing it.